Hello, everybody. This is Universal Truth of Mankind. I am your host, David. We are going to do number three. It's number three of an image of. If you have not watched the first two, please do so because that'll help bring a context in mind of what's going on here. It's not absolutely essential, but it will give you further understanding if you have not watched them. If you have watched them. Just look in the description below and I'll have a link to the playlist and then you can watch it from there, at least with the YouTube. So let's move on. Now, in this discussion, we talked about how we are created in the image of the Creator. And I explained how we are created in the image of Zer Anpin, which is also known as the Lord our God or Hashem Elohim. Now we see that Hashem Elohim speaks to us within the scriptures. And there's a reason why that specific name is speaking to us, because it represents what we are to become in our full, complete, perfected manner. We're not there yet. We're a far away from there. But like I said here, you see where Zer Anpin was split into 6 pieces. Each piece is a day of creation. So we're not talking about 24-hour periods of time, but rather we are talking about a phase, a spiritual event, a spiritual phase, an emanation that is taking place to divide up Zer Anpin into 6 pieces. And these 6 pieces are what we are created in the image of, and these 6 pieces are what we are to work on within ourselves so that we can become better. So in order for us to become like God, to be completed, to be perfected, we have to transform our being. What part of our being is to be transformed? Well, that's what this is about here. It's these 6 pieces that have been divided out from Zer Anpin. So Zer Anpin is the example of what we want to become, or what we're supposed to become, what we will become with certainty. But in the meantime, we have to work towards that. We have to transform ourselves, our being, into something better. We have to go from a negative to a positive. We have to get better and better as time goes on. Practice makes perfect type attitude is the way we should go with this. So you will see in this slide here, you will see in particular the 3 top circles, Chesed, going from right to left. And then from the first row to the second row, you see Chesed, Gevurah, and Tiferet. Now, understand that we're only going to deal with these 3. We'll deal with the other 3 another time. And we will slowly pull these all together so we have a greater understanding what's taking place, at least in this case, the first 3 days of creation and our interface with it. And a description of those days gives us insight to what these specific Sephirots are. They call them Sephirots, means counting. But these attributes here that we have in common with the Creator. How can we know the Creator unless we have something in common with the Creator? Now, our image is not perfected like Zer Anpin because it's all one, but it's in 6. So that gives us what? It gives us time and space. It gives us the ability to have free will. So we have a free will. Do we take these 6 and make them into something better, complete, perfected? Do we make that effort? Or do we do nothing and just live our lives and ignore these things? Which is what we tend to do. It's normal. We like being comfortable. So here we have the very first day, which is represented by Chesed, which we just spoke about in a moment ago. So what happens on this day? Well, in the very beginning, in verse 2, it talks about a void. It talks about emptiness. It talks about non-creation. It is just a void. Now we got to think in terms of Ein Sof. Ein Sof is a reference to the Creator outside of our ability to comprehend and understand, and the totality of everything beyond existence. So we got to think in terms of Ein Sof. Ein Sof means nothing and everything at the same time. So that's what we have here being created. Think of a woman who gets pregnant. What takes place? What the body has to make room for it. Where does it make it? In the uterus. So what happens is the uterus expands and it's empty. It's empty so that the baby can develop in it. Well, that's not so far different than what we're supposed to be doing. Creation is, in a sense, a child being developed within a womb. So there's a womb that the Creator creates, Ein Sof creates within itself, so that we have the ability to develop and not be overwhelmed by God's presence or the Creator's presence. Remember, I'm talking about beyond our comprehension. Thus, we would be nullified. So how do we not be nullified? A void has to be created. And that's very obvious within the verse 2 being mentioned there. It also talks about darkness. Darkness basically means there's nothing there. It's like taking a lump of clay and saying, okay, well, it's nothing right now. We're going to make it into something. So this is the space, the ability to make something. Now it says, let there be light, and there was light. Now, what's really cool about this part of the verse is if you really pay attention, as Elohim is saying, let there be light, light is being created. There's like no time in between it. It's like an instantaneous event. Remember, this is all spiritual we're talking about here. So, spiritual, like I said, light, darkness. We're talking about spirituality at this point. We're not talking about physicality. So we have to understand what is light. Well, think of the sunlight for a moment. When we wake up in the morning or we're up early and we're waiting for the sun to rise, is it not a beautiful thing? Does it not give us hope and aspiration? Does it not give us a feeling of security? Well, this is what light does. This delight, the presence of the Creator into our existence, into that darkness. So what's happening here? Well, the light reveals. It reveals versus what's hidden. It gives wisdom where there's ignorance. There's order where there's chaos. There's positive versus negative. There's sharing versus receiving. And that's a very important concept right there. Think about that for a moment. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to share what we receive, not receive for ourselves alone. Health versus disease, when we're talking about the body. When we take a look at cancer and other diseases, it's our body going into chaos. And it puts us into chaos, and then eventually it can kill us, or it does kill us. Life versus death. Without the light, there's no life. Security versus insecurity. See, when we talk about the light of the Creator and we're trying to connect to that light of the Creator, we're trying to connect with certainty, not with actually, I just realized, uncertainty. I just realized I spelled it wrong. The heck with it. You get it. It's uncertainty. So we want security versus uncertainty. I'm sorry, no, it is spelled right. I'm sorry, looking at insecurity. Sorry about that. We want security. We want to feel safe, right? So these are things that we're looking for. This is what light presents to us, but at a spiritual level is what we're talking about here. So in order for the Creator to bring creation into being, bring the fetus of creation into being, it has to give light so that out of darkness, all these positive things appear. So, what does Chesed mean? It means loving kindness. So keep that in mind. We're going to be talking a little more about Chesed in a moment when we get all three together, because there's a balancing point between the three that we have to understand. But it means loving kindness. So it's the idea of giving. So the Creator is giving to us. It's giving to creation. Creation can't exist without the Creator giving something to it. So we need the giving from the Creator. Now, what's cool is, and something to understand, is that water is the physical expression of light. People don't realize that. You take a drink of water, it revives you. You put some water on a plant, it grows, it gives life. You put water on your hands, you clean your hands. Water can remove and prevent diseases, and so on and so forth. If we need anything for survival, number one thing is water. First thing you need is water. So you get the idea. Then it says the idea of giving without receiving is, like I said, a very important concept here. So the Creator only gives in this whole thing, just gives. Boom, it's here. Boom, you got it. Darkness, boom, here it is. So the opposite of darkness is light. The world operates in darkness as much as it can. It needs light. How do we get light to this world? Through us. That's another story, another time, especially when I start talking about meditations, and I'll get in quite a bit of detail of that. But that's off a couple of weeks. But anyway, that's Chesed. So the number day 2 is Gevurah. So what's taking place here? First of all, the firmament is the firmaments. It's talking about division. It's trying to divide up the firmaments into pieces. That's the 6. You receive the light, and now that light's going to divide Zera Anpin into the 6 pieces. So that now we can interface with the Creator, but we're going to interface at it in a way that we have to do something to construct, to build. Remember, the Creator created something out of nothing. We have to create something out of something. That's our task. So what is it doing? It's delegating. The light is the waters, specific purposes. These 6, each one has a specific purpose, such as Chesed is loving kindness. It's the giving of the light. That's what that's there for. You ever hear the term Israel or Yisrael? Means direct to El. El meaning Chesed. If you want to be an Israelite, as being spoken, you have to go direct to El, direct to the water, direct to the light. You have to want to receive the light. That's what is Yisrael means, direct to the light. And then it says above and below reveals, let me see my quote there, above and below reveals that there is a priority of the structure being emanated. In other words, it's just not 6 things. There's an order to it. There's a priority to it. There's first thing, there's a second thing, there's a third thing. There's order involved. So order is being put into this picture, is being created into this the darkness is being slowly removed. Now, the darkness is not entirely removed. It's partially removed because we have to also remove darkness ourselves. But from a spiritual point of view, the Creator is removing the darkness. Now, Gevurah means judgment or stringency. So you can see where structure is important here. If you want to be a good leader, or you want a good leader for your company or for your group, you want someone who's well organized, who understands what needs to be done and how to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, get all the steps in place, gets everything well ordered and in place. We all need that, and that's all good. So let's go on to the next one. And the third and last one. So Tiferet, day 3. What happens on this day? Well, the upper and the lower waters, which also means heavens, are to be gathered together. But why? Why are they being gathered together? Well, they're being gathered together so they can learn to cooperate together. So we have dry land was to be revealed, not overpowered by the water, and the land was not to overpower the water. So that should start giving you a clue what Tiferet's all about. Earth brings forth. Boy, I did a bad job on these slides, didn't I? Well, it shows I'm human, doesn't it? So it brings forth grass, in particular green grass. I'll explain why I mentioned green in a moment. Seeds and fruit are born. Why? You need both. You need land, you need water. You need the seed, you need the egg to create the child. The sperm to impregnate the egg, but you need the egg in order for the sperm to impregnate something or to share that DNA with, to create that life. There's a cooperation taking place here. So Tiferet means balance, harmony, and beauty. And then I say right under it, vertically and horizontally. What do I mean by that? It's not just a harmony, balance, beauty between like me and my wife, but it's also between us and our creator, the creator and the earth below us, bringing those things together. We're between the two. Our job is to bring order to the earth. Our job is to bring beauty, harmony, balance to earth. Let's take a step back from and take a look at loving kindness. You can love something so much that there's no discipline. And the person doesn't grow, the person becomes dependent, the person becomes self-centered. We all know what happens with a mama's boy type situation. We can't have that. That's not good. But then you can have Gevurah, which is stringency. It's sort of like a judgment that's taking place. Well, I don't mean judgment in a sense like necessarily, hey, you know, separate, isolate, die. Well, actually, you could. You could say that in an extreme manner. You could say that. So these two need balance together so that they benefit each other. So how do we do that? We do it through Tiferet. We bring the balance together. They flow down into Tiferet. And Tiferet says, okay, we need balance, beauty, harmony. We need land, we need water, but we need a separation. If we have too much water, we drown. If we have too little water, we die. So we need just enough water so that we can survive, so that we can live. So we need a balance in our life, a harmony in our life. We can't go from one extreme to the other. We have to have that center point. Now, why did I mention that word green? But don't we read in Psalms that he leads you to still waters and to green pastures? What's the green pastures living that he's leaving you to? Lord leading you to? Green pasture? Tiferet. The passage is talking about Tiferet, not literal. It's not talking, it's spiritually speaking, it's talking about Tiferet. I hope this helps us to understand better what's taking place with these 3 days and what's actually occurring. So we take this and what happens? See the structure being created from the left to the right? To the left, you see Keter, Chachma, and Binah are starting to come out of that vertical alignment. Zer Enpin is being split into the 6 pieces. And then what happens? We look all the way to the right and we see what's called the tree of life. What we see is an assemblage, a graphical format of ourselves being an image of the Creator, image of God. This is the structure that the Creator is expecting us to be part of. And you can see Tiferet right in the middle there as a balancing point from the left and the right and from the top and the bottom. Next time we get together, we'll talk to the next 3, which is Netzach, Kud, and Yesod. And we'll explain those 3 and how they create a balance. And we'll pull this together. I hope this has all helped you. Any questions, any thoughts, please don't be afraid to ask me. You could contact me personally. I have an email in the description. You can leave a comment if you like. I know sometimes say, I feel like I'm asking a stupid question. No, there really are. Any thoughtful question is not stupid. Don't worry about it. Just ask me and I'll do my best to help you out. Okay. So feel free to leave a comment, some thoughts, some ideas. Anyway, take care, everybody, and have a great week.